Alright, we're going to go over the swing arms really quick, which should actually be pretty quick. There's not a lot to it. What it is basically a modified version of the ATR trailing stop, which is actually built into Thinkorswim already. And the ATR trailing stop is just using the average true range of the stock itself to find a trailing stop loss for your position. So, as an example, if you're along here, you'd be out there when it actually breaks the trailing stop. And if you're in a short position here, you'd be out when it actually breaks here. Now, what I use it for is just levels, and that's it. So I'll use the actual levels of the weekly and the daily, and I'll usually mark them on my chart, considering they're important levels to keep an eye on, or even hourly sometimes. But I mean, that's literally all I use it for. Now, pros and cons though. Some pros, almost perfect, because nothing in life is perfect, sadly, at finding support and resistance levels. Now, as we see here, damn near perfect on weekly support. We'll have to see how it actually ends today. However, a con is that since it's modified values, that it's not actually using the default ones, which the majority of trading programs use, if I recall. I've only seen maybe a half a dozen so far, and I know they use the default, but I know there are some that use modified. So we're going to put the default one on the screen. I'll show you what I mean. Now, with the default, you can see it actually provides a much better resist area to actually keep an eye on before actually attempting to go long. And a much better support on the weekly as well, as we see back in September and actually last week as well. Now, something you can do with both the swing arms and the default ATR trailing stop is that you can actually use past areas as support and resistance areas, which I've actually not see anyone do it besides me, which is strange. Pretty sure there has to be like someone else doing it. But as we see an example here, we will put this past level that was a resistance. And as we can see, it actually became a good support as well that it tested right here back in September of last year, then October of last year. And you can do the same here. Look at that. I mean, that's it. It's going to be dependent on your preference on which you actually want to use. Now, the main reason why there's these clouded areas, which are fib extensions from the trailing stop, is because I believe this guy was actually trying to compensate for that, trying to add in more areas of security or support areas and resistance areas to keep an eye on. Because I have seen some people actually use this, that when it actually dips into or dips or touches the swing arms, that they'll actually look for a long position. So as we see here, someone actually would have looked for a long position here, but you could actually do it with the ATR as well. But that's it. There's nothing to it. It's just a modified ATR. Depends on which you actually want to use. Oops, see, look, another example. Now the fib areas, this is where I think he was actually trying to compensate for it, because as you can see, the fib areas actually hold, which are a part of the cloud, and you also have the ATR trailing stop, which is there. So my suggestion is that you should test to see which one you actually prefer. Do you want a cloud? Do you not want a cloud? Do you want the same ones that the computers use, etc., etc.? That's it.